Welcome everyone to the CAIS YouTube channel. Today we are sitting down with CAIS Associate Editor Stephen McCarthy, winner of the 2024 Best CAIS Associate Editor Award. Stephen is here to discuss the role of the Associate Editor at an academic journal and offer some insights into the review process for both authors and editors. So, Stephen, to start us off, tell us, what is an associate editor and what is the best part of being an associate editor?
Yeah, so I guess the associate editor's role is primarily about guiding papers through the review process from the start when they're submitted to the assignment to reviewers and through different rounds of reviews. So I guess starting off, finding the right reviewers is really important, ensuring we have a representative whose expertise in the topic as well as the methodology, and then ensuring that reviews are processed in a timely way. And for me, I think the best part is firstly getting to read lots of really interesting papers. I think that for me is always the most exciting part. And then equally seeing the papers evolve. So I think you see the interaction between the authors and the reviewers over different rounds, shape how the paper's written. And I think that for me is the most exciting part.
What is the hardest part of being an associate editor, Stephen?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think for everyone right now, time is the big challenge. We're living in the information age and people are constantly getting review requests from different journals. So I think finding reviewers who firstly are available takes time. So that first step is actually sometimes the longest, where I, as an associate editor, have to go out and source reviewers. And it's very understandable people have other obligations. But I think we try to work with them, and that's where your role as well as managing editor, David, has been a great assistance. Being able to accommodate requests if they need a little more time, also ensuring that we're keeping the authors in mind, that it's not taking too long. I guess our challenge then is making sure that the process is constructive. And to be honest, in my experience with CAIS, reviewers have been great. They've always tried to make the paper better, but you still have to be aware that the comments need to have something that the author can work with, that it's not just being critical for the sake of being critical, and there's something that can be developed from what's being given to the authors.
I think too, Stephen, that a lot of people don't know, certainly people outside of academia don't know, this is all done on a volunteer basis. Yeah. and that the labor load is very high. And the fact that both you as an associate editor and reviewers have to judge papers, which is an intellectual and cognitive load, much more difficult than, say, reading, right? Judging is very difficult too, I think.
Definitely. Yeah, it takes time. Like I think to give it the attention it needs, you need to sometimes read a paper twice even, and especially when you've written up your comments, go back over them and rewrite them as well. So you're absolutely right. It's a volunteered position, but I think everyone involved, they know from being an author previously the value of the process, and it's about giving back to the community and serving as best we can. So it's a give and take. If you want to have your papers reviewed, you have to review papers for others. That's how the model works.
So when a paper lands on your desk, Stephen, what are some of the qualities that indicate to you that a paper has a lot of potential? Because I think as associate editors, we're always looking for those gem papers that come in and have all that potential. What are some of the qualities that indicate to you that a paper is ready and a significant contribution?
Yeah, great question. I think firstly, the presentation. So that's one of the very first telltale signs. If there's good attention given to the formatting, the spelling, the tables are presented in a coherent manner. And again, very simple. It's not necessarily showing that it's don't be done rigorously in terms of the study methodology or anything else. But that's a first sign, I think. And then just going through the sections, seeing that relevant literature is referenced, that they're talking to others in the community. So that would determine if it's a good fit for CAIS versus a journal in a different discipline. It has to be very clearly communicating to others in the community. And then I guess the rigor part is equally important, seeing that all the correct techniques have been used for data gathering, for data analysis, and that the conclusions reached are valid. And of course, a lot of this is assessed during the review process itself. But as an associate editor, I before I send the paper out, I still like to just have a quick read through to see if there's things I'm maybe anticipating might be raised, and that may inform then who I pick as reviewers as well. So as I said, there's lots of stages to the review process, sometimes outside of what we normally think, but that's an important stage too.
So talk about sort of guiding a paper from a submission draft to a significant contribution. What are some of the things that you do to make that possible? Because certainly associate editors and reviewers can drop the ball on that. They can take a gem submission and not move it forward to a significant contribution. So tell us a little bit about sort of some of the things that you do to make sure that paper reaches its full potential.
I think as an associate editor, mindset is important. And for me, I want to see papers published. I don't want to be the one who's just cutting papers down unnecessarily. So I think being constructive is always the main thing that I try to keep in mind. And then I think my role as an AE is then trusting the reviewers. That's really important, knowing that you have reviewers who are competent and will deliver. And then not questioning them. If they see things that I didn't see, I listen and try to aggregate it as best I can. So I think in terms of the review model, the AE kind of sits above the reviewers to try and have that eagle eye view of what commonalities are there, what differences are there, and then take those and report back to the authors to make sense of it. So I think being a proactive AE is about not just giving the comments straight back to the author and say, go figure it out yourself, but trying to make sense of it beforehand. So making sure I read the reviewer's comments really carefully. I pick out things that I think are important, highlight those, and if there are any issues that are contradicting, to flag those and maybe give some guidance to the author. So it's very much about packaging what's being given from the reviewers to then help the author. But as I said, it's the mindset that you're trying to do your best for the author. Really, that's the important part.
So what advice do you have for submitting authors who want to see their paper reach its full potential? What's some advice that you have for them, Stephen?
Yeah, so I think CAIS is a fantastic outlet in that it's really embracing of different topics, different methodologies. It's the voice for AIS, so it's a really important forum. And you see that in different type of submissions that we have, from debates, panels, practitioner papers, research articles. So I think firstly, I'd suggest authors think, is CAS the right outlet for me? And then the very important question, why? So I think in regards to that question, it's making sure that you know the kind of papers being published in the journal, get a sense of again, types of papers, conversations that are being had between different authors, and ideally citing some of those in your paper to give that signal that you know the journal and you understand the community and what topics are of relevance. And yeah, I guess then just doing good work and making sure that the paper is fully baked and not half baked when you submit it. I think we've all made that mistake where we're just working on the project for so long and we just want to submit it, and we know it's not perfect, but it'll be fine. We'll still submit. And I think good research takes time, so allowing that time and making sure your best work is submitted, because that then will make sure the review process is constructive and it's not going to end up being a very difficult review cycle.
So let's talk about the AE role. There's a lot of new AEs. A lot of people are taking up that position. Journals need associate editors. There's a lot of people who maybe have not done this work before. For a new person who's coming into the position, what's some advice that you have for them?
Yeah, I think firstly, be willing to learn. I think it's something that there's no training for necessarily, but because you've been selected, it's trusting you that you've gone through the review process many times. It's kind of that model that you know it firsthand as an author, but then moving over to AE is, like I said, you're trying to see it as a role that's a gatekeeper, I guess. You're making sure the best research is published, and equally managing the review process in a fair way. So I think, like I said, even though my mindset is I want to publish research, at the same time I have to be very aware that I also don't want to publish bad research. Make sure that the research was done rigorously, that there's a sufficient contribution, because that impacts the reputation of the journal and equally the AE themselves. So it has to be done rigorously too. I think listening to reviewers is very important, picking good reviewers, equally working with the managing editor, and we have fantastic editors-in-chief as well, Dennis and Mary, who are always there too, if you have any questions or any uncertainties. So it takes a village. It's not just one person by themselves, but I think being willing to learn is the key thing, and embracing those around you to help with that.
Great, thank you. Stephen McCarthy, winner of the 2024 Best CAIS Associate Editor Award. Thank you for sitting down with us today and sharing your insights and thoughts. And thank you for all of your excellent contributions to the journal. It is much appreciated every day.
Thanks, David.